Oh, man. I'm sorry. So, you know, I'm sorry. I can never say these things. So, I'm sorry. So, I'm sorry. Ooh, I'm sorry. I can never save them. And I got somebody who's asking about them all the time. And I finally figured out you got to end it at about 50 minutes so that you can save it in your gallery. And people,
Oh,
right, and people are going to want to see you. They're going to want to see you talk, so, and
I
somebody,
guess.
somebody was just saying, I think Adia was saying, she said, just be human. You always are so strong. You always are so, carrying the weight. Even when I was at Gauchos, you carried the weight of your team. You carried a lot of the weight. I tried to be there for you, but a lot of it was yours because it was your team. Just, there's a time when you have to say, I did what I could do. I've given everything I could give, and now I got to give to myself.
No, no, Mo, I disagree. And maybe again, like I think that I only disagree because, again, my commitment level to these girls is deeper than just basketball, right? I think that,
Don't get me wrong, Sinead. That's not what
yeah.
I'm not saying.
Listen,
I'm not saying, you know me, I'm not saying the girls walk out the program, it's fuck them. Because most of the girls that came out the program, I'm still in contact with. So that's not what I'm saying. I
yeah,
know, but you don't have a barometer. It's either all the way or it's no way.
100%.
Right?
That's just how I operate. That's how I operate in life. That's how, also definitely big shout out to the PSAL session that's going to be happening tomorrow at 6 o'clock. This is definitely a plug for that.
I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, Mike is doing some awesome stuff as well. So I really, really appreciate that.
Coach Gately is having something tomorrow on Zoom or something also. So it's like you said, there's a lot of things going. Everybody's trying to give back. I don't want to keep you, so let me keep you rolling. You was on the rant with the refs, and
yeah, I'm a referee.
absolutely think like me. You said let's go back to regional teams, and only the best teams travel. I agree. The problem becomes who decides the best teams.
My thing is this, like for real, if you're going out to tournaments and you're getting smoked by girls with ribbons in their hair, you may want to reevaluate why you're traveling out on the road. No, I'm so serious. And
I know.
We used to have this joke about it when I used to play. And again, it was a joke with my other AAU teammates. And again, shout out to Sophia and Adiola and all of them, because we used to always joke about it, like, yo, we going out on the road, we getting ready to go to UNC or wherever, and we about to get washed by girls with ribbons in their hair, because that was the style back then.
Right.
Little white girls with ribbons in their hair. So it's like, if you want to get washed by some white girls with ribbons in their hair, keep playing games if you want to. Your ass gonna get smoked and embarrassed.
I remember how many years ago, maybe it was 3 seasons ago, me and you were talking, and you was like, yo, Mo, to see some of those teams from New York travel, you said it was a disgrace. You remember?
So again, this is the situation, right? Is that, no, Adi, I'm not saying that sports isn't a social learning experience, but you're not going to waste my time on experimental stuff either, right? So I think that, again, my commitment is just a much deeper level, and you're going to get life lessons. You're going to understand like how to talk, how to act. You're going to understand that as well, but you're also, we're doing this for a reason, right? Yes, that's my purpose, my reason. So again, if you're playing for me, that is the expectation, period. And again, there are kids that don't make the cut, right? Like, you have tryouts and you're looking and you're watching and you're watching. There are kids that don't make the cut, and that's just through my own eyes. Maybe they make the cut for someone else, right? It's so funny. Lynette Tate, great example. That's a kid that came to a Gaucho's tryouts, and I was like, oh wow, this kid is actually, she's good. Like she can be good. She's not, you know, she's still, she needs work, but she's good. She ends up going to New Heights. She actually ends up doing really, really well there. She ends up going to Manhattan College, and that's awesome, right? And that's awesome. But I actually originally thought that she was a kid that was going to be like pretty good, but it was also like, okay, well, if you take her, Jones, what about all your other guards? And I was like, that's a good fact.
Right.
That's good. That's a good point. But that's actually a kid that I saw that we ended up cutting, and I was like, man, like I really wish that we had that kid. So you know, it's all good.
Nadia, and I think she misunderstands where we're coming from, where she says the majority of children who are able to travel that are terrible, but they develop bonds. We're aware of that. And I don't think we're not saying that they shouldn't be traveling. But what we're saying is, if you want to be a top team, you shouldn't be out there getting smoked by 40. If you're in New York and you know, you're this, you're puffing your chest, and you go to Tennessee, you know, and you're getting smoked, those aren't the place to develop friendship bonds. You're wasting parents' time, you're wasting money. You know, those aren't.
No. This is the thing though. We're interpreting it as we're not the kids, right? The kids are going to make friends regardless. Like kids go to interesting places and all of a sudden they're like chatting with each other on social media, right? That's
right.
the cool thing.
Right away.
We didn't have social media back then, so I wasn't really friends with the girls from the Liberty Bells. I wasn't friends with the girls from Riverside because like it's competition. Like I don't know what you talk about.
Right.
But now it's like social media is kind of a buffer so that you could actually start to kind of get to know somebody where you're not necessarily having to call them, right? Or schedule your parents to drive you to go see them. So I think that that's different. White culture doesn't see it as wasting. Yes, I agree with you. And again, if you actually think about the girls that are receiving these scholarships, the majority is not such, right? You have 430,000 girls in the country that play AAU basketball. 430,000, right? And again, I'm big into the numbers because it's really important to know the difference. Because 430,000 kids that play, a large part of them do in fact have money, right? Every single one of my kids, I can never say that I had a rich kid on my team. I had working class families. I had very, very poor kids on my team. But I think that the interesting piece with all of that is that there was always a sense of equity, because at the end of the day, the kid that brought a fucking can of ravioli to an AAU tournament,
we know that
a kid that brought fucking top ramen and cup of noodles to the AU tournament, she's eating the same way that all my other girls are, right? And so that's when I come in, because at the end of the day, we either all eating groceries or we all going to a restaurant. With my team, there's no, oh, you go there with your parents, and you go there. Okay, that's fine. That's the parent crew. But even with some of the parents, it's like, can we all go out together? Right. You know what I mean? Because that's also a big part of the team bonding experience. But also, again, I have no shame in offering more equity, because certain backgrounds can only experience traveling to another state.
No, we're not saying that.
No.
We're not saying that, Adia. That's not what we're saying. We're just talking about more of, these
First of all, but this is my thing. I'm not here to give everybody like travel experiences. Right. I'm not here to do any of that stuff. I'm not, that's not my role. So Adia, you're speaking from like kind of this holistic approach, and I love it. And so if you become a millionaire, you can definitely do that for experiences, right? That's like Robin Hood Foundation, or like the Mariah Carey thing where she has the kids go to like camps in the summer. I'm not doing that. That's not my role. My role is to get my kids to Division I schools, division. My kids' goal is to get to a school for free.
That's it.
Period. That's my role. So Adia, if that's the new role you want to have, I think that that's so exciting and so awesome. And I wish you the best of luck and let me know how I can help and support. Otherwise, my role is to get my kids on full scholarships, period. That's it, right? And I think that the other piece is I have a very interesting opportunity that I can provide to my girls in the form of summer interns, right? So I have a summer sports internship program that's been really successful over the last 3 years. And it only continues to get like bigger. And right now it's strictly through word of mouth. My first ever summer sports interns was actually Ashanti Plummer, who did play at Lab. And she also ended up playing at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. And then she played with Jaywana for the Lightning Dingle, right? So that was her AAU program. And then also my second, her partner from my very first ever summer sports internship program was Erin McClure. Erin McClure played at Exodus, also played at Malloy, and ended up continuing to be one of the best players in Quinnipiac history. So I think that, again, for me, it's bigger than just like this, right? It's also about empowering young girls to figure out what they want to do with their lives when basketball is done, and to give them as much exposure and potentially like summer money, like some good summer money in their pockets, so that they can figure that out. And so,
so now these internships and this type of opportunities you have at Grog Game.
Correct. So basically, Grog Game, and again, the reason why I created Grog Game was largely because at the end of the day, nobody I'm still seeing has the bravery to start developing young girls, right? They want to default it to the boys programs, or yeah, Erin was super tough. She used to bust our kids' ass inside the gym. It was so awesome. Even some of our guy coaches. And so anyways, the Grog Game was created with the intentions of being able to provide a early stage in a pipeline that's so necessary for continuing the growth and development of New York City girls basketball in general, right? We see a lot of beef and a lot of drama on the high school level, and it's really because there's just not a big enough pool below. If there was a big enough pool below, people would actually be good with who they had, even though there's still going to be greedy motherfuckers that just want to still try to get kids because they still want to get better and maybe not coach as hard. That is, it's crazy. So again, it's ignorant for me to think that anything is realistically going to change without actually being able to dive deeper into the weeds, right? And actually getting these girls to love basketball first, to love it, right? Like, it's not even about, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. We're learning it. But they're also learning that it's okay to miss shots. They're also learning that it's okay to like scrape your knee and have like your teammate pick you up. They're learning that it's okay to cry because you're frustrated that you can't understand what right, left, up is. So it's almost like it's like Head Start, but for basketball, right?
And what people need to understand is her program is not affiliated with any AAU program.
Oh, that's really important too. So again, as I make my transition out from the New York City Gauchos, I've also been on this kind of like almost like a mission, like my last
like a retirement tour. Like your retirement tour.
It's seriously like a retirement tour because I started to become an official, right? I became a referee, and it's weird because I'm actually starting to get good. Right. And I don't say as a referee.
You ain't gotta cut it. You was gonna ref the PSAL championship game at your college. So let's not, hey, stop. You're good.
So yes, I was scheduled to ref the PSAL A finals game. I also had the quarterfinals and the semifinals for the PSAL AA games. And so I think that that's pretty dope because there's just there's not enough of us, right? The first piece, there's not enough of us like Black women, right? And again, that's in coaching and that's in officiating, which is so crazy. It's this double entendre that we're just trying to like you know, like, where's the representation? Which again, Adia, you're very active on this, but we need you to come back into coaching, sis, because at the end of the day, ain't enough of us. And I'm starting to, I'm getting ready to kind of bow out gracefully so I can put more attention into grow our game.
But you know, the funny thing is, Chiene, for the last 2 years, I've taken assistants that they just came out of various programs so that they could learn and I could step out the way and they could be in. You know what I'm saying? That's my whole journey now. Like, we need to get them, these girls, these young girls that's just graduating or before they start the families, and maybe get them into coaching. And that's all I want to do. You know what I mean? So I agree. We need more in.
I mean, it's easier said than done,
Yes.
right? It's easier said than done. I think that there's a bunch of reasons why girls don't choose to do this. And a lot of it has to do with they don't want to deal with trifling ass men that are doing like crazy stuff. Like, and that's a big reality to what it is, right? Like, if I have to keep having to check people left and right, that shit is exhausting. It's really annoying. And so, you know, I think it's tricky because I've tried to be as consistent as possible, right? I've tried to make myself synonymous with gauchos when I've been with gauchos. Never did I ever entertain or accept an offer from another program, right? It's just, we're not doing that.
Right.
Because I also, again, when you just got to think about it, like, what would that look like for me as a coach telling my kid to be loyal if I've been bouncing and hopping all over the goddamn place? It's not a good look. And I get that there's excuses for everything.
I was
right?
10 years. So when I finally decided, you know, for whatever reason, people were like, you know, coaches don't stay in programs that long. But you're right. We are sometimes the exception. I don't think you find, and I don't know every coach, but it's hard. I guess people, you know, wind up in different programs for whatever their reason is. But you're right. You know, there are exceptions, but there are some of us that will stay. Like, we didn't entertain. I didn't entertain. I didn't go anywhere. Every summer I knew I was coming back, you know, until my time was to do other things. Let me ask you, and I think it just came out 24 hours ago. Division II, California College Association is suspending all fall sports. You think that's right decision? Are we overreacting? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, again, you got to understand what's happening right now, right? So Division II just put out their recruiting calendar just this past week, right? Within the last 7 days, Division II now has a recruiting calendar for the month of June through next summer. Division I still does not have a recruiting calendar, right? They still don't have a recruiting calendar. Wait, Eagles and Dynamics are different, as well as some of the leaders of these programs. Luck, you know what though? I still don't think that's an excuse. And I get what you're saying. I still don't think that's an excuse, because so long as the priority is your kids, like, the egos are going to be there, and that's fine. But you got to keep reassuring yourself that the priority is your kids. So you have to show up for them the same way that you're asking for them to show up for you. And that's just my stance on it. That's how I feel about it. Because again, there's been a lot of dynamic things that's been going on with gauchos for the last 8 years. But at the end of the day, I wasn't jumping ship because of that, right? Like, I knew that at the end of the day, it was important. Correct. It's not an excuse, because at the end of the day, I'm showing up for my kids. So whether or not I have a disagreement with an adult, that's okay. But I'm not going to be a child with a disagreement and now say, oh, well, forget you. I'm not going to do that, because I love my kids too much. Right. And that's when you get deep, when you're deep into the thick of it, right? Like, when you were in the trenches with those kids for so many years, your priorities start to change, right? And so you're just kind of like, okay. But again, I got tired of seeing the younger kids just not be so good. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, why are we still not able to make left-hand layups? Like, why are kids being forced to their left hand and still not able to dribble with their left hand? That was my biggest cheat mode. It was, let's force every kid to their left.
Right.
Let them figure it out. let them figure it out.
Right. But that's where you're going to come in for this New York City girls basketball and your developmental program.
Correct. So we got girls from 4 to 7. That's our little ballers. And then we also have another program called the Breakfast Club. That's for girls ages 7 to 9. And so again, it's exciting because when I think about 7 to 9, I think about all those girls that came to me when they were 9 years old, when they were 10 years old. So what would that look like if they were able to get somebody that actually supported them in a real loving and caring way and gave them a little bit of that magic to feel like they could do anything that they want to do, right? That they can become one of the best basketball players to ever come out of New York City. That's some powerful shit. And again, doesn't got to be a whole tribe, right? Because as you continue through, there's going to be kids that choose other sports, right? Because that's also the part of the program is encouraging kids to play multiple sports.
Oh, thank you. Sheesh.
But it's a little bit deeper. It's a little bit deeper than that. So you know, that's kind of where I'm at. But anyways, what was the question, Mo, you were talking about? Because
we were talking about the California College Association.
Oh yeah, no. So the recruiting calendar hasn't come out for the Division One yet. Division One coaches are not coming out this summer.
No.
So I just want you guys to be clear. They are not coming out this summer.
I think
so whatever.
July 31st, right? The dead period is all the way to July 31st.
Well, it's not just yet, but because the NABC and the WBCA came out together as a united front for boys and girls to be like, y'all need to really chill. It's not. So I don't care what type of video or what type of streaming can be made. It's not safe. It's not safe. Kids are now being found with interesting syndromes, right? Like, I don't even know the name of it.
The Kawasaki or something like that.
No. You know, interestingly enough, actually, one of our kids has that. One of our kids actually has that. But what I'm saying is that the symptoms that are now arising for younger kids is new. So for any idiot to want to actually choose to have an AAU tournament just off the strength because of their greed, because it's not about the kids. Let's be serious. When they do these, people that run these tournaments and stuff, it's not about the kids. It's cute, right? You can say, oh, I want to support the girls. Okay. But you really want money. You really don't want to lose that deposit that's no longer refundable.
Right.
You want money. Right. And so I just can't support it because my kids' lives are not worth losing because we can't record a fucking game. Like, if anything, we'll figure it out in the fall, right? We'll figure it out in the fall because those scholarships are still going to be there. But what I'm saying is scholarships are going to be there for the kids who are going to be getting scholarships. There's a lot of kids that are hoping. They're still in the hope phase, and their coach is disseminating whatever type of like toxicity into the parents' brains to think that it's actually should be a viable option to go because you're going to get looked at. If you're talking about looks for 2021, you late, baby.
But that's what Luck said last night. Remember, he said if that's what you're hoping for right now, what have you been doing up till now?
Yeah, you ain't been doing shit. So you know.
So,
but the thing is this also to get the offer that you want though. I think that's the other narrative, right? Your kids that are thinking about those scholarships, those kids have their offers, but they're probably not necessarily, they're waiting for that full offer, right? Like to secure it. And it was like, man, like we saw you last summer. We went to your games this past school year. We really, really like you. We really need a lock. And this summer for some kids was the lock.
Right.
Right. But now it's like, what do you do? And I think that again, for many kids, you have to go with your heart. And so if you have that offer from the school that in your gut, in your heart, you know is the right program for you, there's no point in holding out. right? Because that's the bigger problem, is that too many kids hold out to try to hope to get a bigger school. And it's not about a bigger school, because your ass going to end up being in the transfer portal.
The transfer portal.
You're not going to know what's really going on with that program, because you didn't take the time to get to know them. It's just like a relationship. Like, you know what I mean? Like, again, you're in like a 10-year relationship with someone. You think you know the person, and then all of a sudden it's like
you have a baby, and all of a sudden we find out you somebody new.
Like you somebody new.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, it's like, you thought you had a rider, maybe you don't have a rider anymore. Like, that sucks. Like, but what can you do? But I think, again, for us to be naive and to think that, like, we're actually going to have a real AAU season this summer is naive.
Oh yeah, that's
it's ignorant, right? And I also think it's selfish, because it's not worth lives. I think, again, I've dealt with a lot of interesting death over the last 2 months, and so it, like, we have to really check ourselves when we start talking about playing in the summer, because it is not worth lives. Like, again, when you talk about red states, and I'm not going to get too more into that other than saying this, decisions are being made on a state level, largely because of the type of transactions that need to happen in order for them to continue the
economy.
No, it's not even the economy. In order to continue stealing, right? In order to continue robbing and stealing, right? You need things to kind of kickstart again. And this same thing goes true for AAU basketball. Like, in order for AAU basketball really ain't shit anyway, because now it's just a bunch of people trying to make money. At least before, you had to qualify for things. Like, even with Gauchos, when I played, we qualified for nationals and couldn't even fucking go, because the boys ended up going.
Right.
And they said they had no money for us, because we were a bunch of poor kids just playing basketball because we actually, like, were pretty damn good. Right? So, again, and we beat the Liberty Bells that year. And not for nothing, it's like, it's so crazy, because you could even, there's a video after we won, I'm like doing cartwheels and like splits. Like, it was just insane. I was just like,
show you the video.
No, I don't. You don't got the video. Right. Only one person got the video. But anyways, I say that because, you know, it was so amazing to be able to qualify for nationals, whereas now it's pay to play. Like, if you qualified for AAU nationals, you knew you was the best team in the city. But again, now there's sneaker deals, right? So that's one market. So you got your EYBL, you got your Adidas, you got your Under Armour. And then you also have, you know, your independents who are just, you know, off of relationships. They end up getting maybe a really good game in one of those sessions. So to me, it's like, it's just too much about money right now. A lot of people are about just money and pouring money into people who don't even give back to the girls.
Absolutely.
To girls basketball.
Absolutely.
I don't understand that either.
Absolutely.
But I think that, you know, again, we just got to be clear on, like, what the priorities are for our kids here in New York City. And so while I do salute those that are making sure that they're, you know, that their kids are being active and still staying on top of things during this time, I literally just heard Coach Hillsman from Syracuse talking earlier today, because there was a dope clinic. And again, for those that aren't on those clinics, if you're interested in getting the link to know what it is, make sure that you can DM me after this. I can send you the link. Coaches Productions are offering free clinics right now to an incredibly large number of you know, its followers and its members. So, and it's free to join. But I say that because Coach Hillsman is only focused. He's only had one Zoom call, he said, with his team. One Zoom call. And that was just to check in to make sure that they were good with their academics. Because his priority right now was nothing to do with working out. His priority was to make sure that his girls were straight with school and that they were being safe. Because guess what? In his program, basically, he said more than half of their practice, they actually spend time with their strength and conditioning coach. So those kids are busy running and lifting every single day. That's his system up there. So he's not worried about that because he knows that whenever they do come back, we got that, right? Like we're going to make sure y'all get into shape, whether you like it or not. So I think that, again, for the high school girls, the desire right now to want to do things, I commend those girls that are really on it. But again, there are some real structural boundaries when we talk about some of our kids that are like the most at risk, the most high need, because they may not be in a situation where they can actually dribble a ball comfortably in their apartment without having drama from their next door neighbors, right? Without having the police called. With even some kids, honestly, may not even have a basketball in their home. Right? The basketball might actually be dead and they don't have a basketball pump, or they don't have a basketball needle to be able to pump the basketball with on the little makeshift pump that they have. And that's real shit, right? So I think, again, we also have to sometimes reevaluate what we're prioritizing, because if we're not prioritizing our kids, then we shouldn't be actually in this business, which is not a real business. It's a fake business, y'all, because ain't no money in girls basketball other than a scholarship, other than trying to end generational poverty through that scholarship, right? That's pretty much that in a nutshell.
Right. All right. So I appreciate you going extra time. I know you wanted to jump in on that news media thing.
It's okay.
AP. So I appreciate you. I'm going to hit you for that link for the coaches clinic.
Yeah, listen, and I've been sharing that. There's this that like the New York Basketball Coaches Alliance thing or whatever. I've been sending multiple emails through that, and I haven't gotten any responses from anyone. So I'm just kind of like, is anyone even like reading these emails? Like, I don't even know.
Send me the link. I'll take advantage of it. I look forward to what you're getting ready to bring in the future with the Grog Game. Now, how are you looking as far as people that want to be part of your program, want to help? Do they have to be all women?
Yes.
Okay, see?
So again, interestingly enough, you have to be a woman if you're interested, but this is my thing. I've built a pretty strong pipeline right now with girls that are in college, girls that are going to college, girls that are coming out of college. So those are actually the girls that help and assist. Those are the girls. And I think that there's also an opportunity for high school girls to volunteer and support, and they can end up using that on their college applications. So that's another additional opportunity if there are specific teams that are interested. So I know Coach Thompson, you're on here. If your JV girls are interested in coming to support, thank you, Mike. Much love, brother. If your girls would be interested in coming out to support one of our clinics, we go on Saturdays and Sundays. I haven't actually announced the additional locations because now I have 4 sites throughout New York City that we'll be having the program in. So, that announcement to come.
Right.
Like COVID-19 is kind of figured out, because we'll be in Brooklyn, we'll be in Manhattan, we'll also be up in the Bronx. So that's like really, really exciting stuff. And again, my goal is to try to help as many girls as possible in the city to be able to support girls basketball, and also to continue to just give this.
So ladies, reach out to Coach Jones, hit her in the DM, hit her anywhere you got. She has opportunities for you at Grog Game.
Yep.
And I'll definitely always retweet, repost, whatever it is, because it costs nothing to share, right?
It's not even that, though, because I think I hate when people be like that. Oh, support is free. Oh, support is free. Yeah, but the thing is, if you're not aligned with what I'm doing, then I don't want you to hit like. I don't want you to repost. I don't want you to reach out, because again, it's like I walk in my truth, right? I walk in my truth, and I walk in with a very realistic expectation of my girls, of my parents, of the people that are supporting, right? And so for the folks that support me, I really appreciate that. And again, they're not on Instagram.
Yeah.
My couple of my whales, they're like old white dudes that just are very wealthy. but it's not about that. It's about trying to leverage those resources to help your kids.
Yep.
And there's too many people out here that want to help in a genuine and real way for us to kind of like default to the felonious people that care less about girls basketball or care less about giving back to the game. So for those that are on here, thank you so much for joining the live. I'm really upset that I got a little emotional in that last live. I don't even know if you were able to save it. Hopefully not.
I think so. I'm hoping I did. But, you know, listen, Chiene, you're the best, right?
It's all good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And outside from Grog Game, we also, you know, again, we have a live active website, grogame.org. So feel free to get onto that if you're interested in wanting to learn more. There's also a
your Twitter.
There's a Q&A box where you can go ahead. And again, follow me on Instagram. Nope, we're not going to talk about that, Mo. Follow me on Instagram.
No. All right.
Follow me on Instagram, and you'll be able to also find out all the really dope and cool things that are going on. So thank you guys for joining, Mo. Thank you so much for this time because
Chiene, we ain't got to talk about it.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Mo.
All right.
Thank you, brother.
All right.
All right.
Bye.